One of the original 6 teams of the NHL look like they're going to be an absolutely horrid team this upcoming season, as the New York Rangers have put together a team that is currently, we're facing, looking like a team poised to do absolutely mid as hell in the NHL season and miss the playoffs once again, but they clearly are showing signs that they want to still be a Stanley Cup contender. So let's talk about this squad, what they need to do, and where the Rangers' future has in store for them. So let's talk all about it. So welcome back to the O Hockey Show, and today we're talking about the New York Rangers and what their future holds in store for them, right? Because last year, we're talking about the past real quick, garbage can fire, like bunch of homeless people around a fire and that falls over and catches everyone on fire too. Like the worst case scenario for this team was a absolutely horrible year, and just a team with the highest of pressures to be a Stanley Cup contender didn't even make the playoffs, even really close to making the playoffs. And that was because of bad management issues, making bad decisions. Coaching just was not it. Players having bad years, which of course there's so many influences on that. So the biggest failure, I think, of the year was the New York Rangers last year. I think you could say maybe the Bruins, but no, I think the Bruins, they tanked, and then they got, a pretty good pick in James Higgins now. But for me, the Rangers, this was the bad year for them. And they didn't even recoup anything that special in the draft or anything. Just the most unsuccessful year for the New York Rangers. And to me, this team has shed a lot. And this team last year, obviously with their roster, they were poised to be the same kind of team they have been, making the conference finals. But this year, look at the players that they've shed off this team. Chris Kreider, Smith, Keandre Miller, Ryan Lindgren, Capo Caco, Hedel, Trouba, and I can keep going, but those are like some big top minute eater. Like, you describe each of these players, they are top something, right? Kreider now, top 6. Well, Smith is like a top 9, but Miller, top 4, Lindgren, top 4, Capo, top 6. All these players are top of the minute-eating pie chart, I guess. They're eating a bigger slice of the pie than the other half of the roster, right? And the Rangers lost all that and have done not a whole lot to recoup anything to fill in those holes. And there's just a lot of glaring mistakes with this roster. And I think the Rangers are at the intersection. They pull up to that stop sign, right? It's in like the middle of nowhere. And they either can go right and go towards, but they could try to do playoff success and they just try to ride it out and get to playoff heaven, or they take that big left turn and they go to rebuild hell, where it'll be tough, but they can put it all together and restart this team. And they are at that crossroads, because this is a big year. Artemi Panarin, this is his contract year. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He is a perfect opportunity to pad up some of the prospect rankings, right? Because prospects, they don't really have any, other than Perreault, which we'll see how he pans out. But they have 2 first-round picks currently for this upcoming draft. If they trade Artemi Panarin, if they decide to move on from him and not give him some giant-ass contract, because this is the cap exploding, he easily could command, if he has a decent year this year, he could easily command 14, maybe. If he has a 100-point season, like, what is a 100-point player going to get? Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess Marner got 12, but yeah, I don't know. But he's going to get a big boost in paycheck, I think. And do the Rangers want to do that if this team is a failure again and just do the Maple Leafs thing where you just keep riding out the same thing and just keep hoping that the stars are going to finally show up? Because he does not really show up in the playoffs. So if you trade Panarin, you could add so many prospects to this team. And I also don't think that this team's going to do very well face off, like up front. This team is not built to be very amazing. Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere, fine. Panarin's all right. We know he can be a 100-point player. Trocheck, he's a good playoff guy, but I think regular season he's a fine, not number 1 center of an NHL team. If he was the second line, which of course you want to make Miller and them, you don't want to only put all your good players on the first line. But Trocheck and whatever. Lafreniere, he is not. He's fine. Yeah, I think he would be fine on the second line, but being top line material he is not yet. Will Cooley on the second line. I know people love Will Cooley. I love him. He has a great game. He hits hard. He actually gets points on the board. But I feel like he is the player he's going to be. I think he is that kind of like 40, 50 point guy. He's going to get 20 goals on the year or around 20, and he plays a hard game. But he's a perfect player that if he's on the third line, that is huge. Second line with Perreault or Radish or Rempe on the right side is bad news. Perreault, he's a rookie. I think he showed that he's not really, like, he's not one of those rookies that is going to take the league by storm by any means. And he's going to be a fine, I think, 30-point guy maybe this year. Maybe he could reach 40, but to me, that's a stretch, and that is not moving the needle at all on a team that's trying to make the playoffs still. And with JT Miller, of course, that helps, but then Mika Zibanejad, third line, Berard and Edstrom being your guys that could fill in those holes, that is weak. That is weak as hell, and Zibanejad already showing those signs of aging. Not liking that at all. Radish, Rempe, Carrick, it's all just a horrible... I mean, Zibanejad, if surrounded by the right players, I think is totally fine. I don't think Zibanejad's completely lost his game at all. I know he was made a complete toy and tool made out of online last season, but to me, Zibanejad, he's still serviceable, but he needs to be around the right players. And but you're not gonna. Well, I don't know, but that's just the thing, is that this team is horrible. The depth is insanely horribly bad. And then you get to defense, and defense is okay. They signed Gavrikov, so clearly they're still showing signs that they want to be a contending team if they're signing really good D-men like Gavrikov. Gavrikov, Fox, Soucy, Borgen, Morrow, Schneider. It's a serviceable defense, but it's the type of defense that is not winning you a Stanley Cup. It's the type of defense that needs two more, really good defenseman. Borgen, I think, is a all-right at best D-man. Soucy, of course, legend, Carson Soucy. But Schneider, Morrow, it's good. They're definitely good enough to win games and be competitive. But once you get into the playoffs, you get to the second round, you get to the third round when you run into the Panthers or the Hurricanes. Well, I know they won't run into the Hurricanes in the third round, but it's not too good. I'm not liking that at all. Shesterkin and Quick, obviously, extremely good. To me, this team is in a really, really, really tough spot. Because they do have those first-round picks. They do have a lot of their picks. Unlike some teams like the Maple Leafs and other squads that have traded away a lot of their first-round picks, they don't have any assets to move on from anymore. This team does, right? And this team, I mean, the other issue I have with this squad is that the players that are good and that they could trade away for, if you say you trade Perreault and you try to get in one more, a good player in return. I have no idea how they could do it, but bring in a Jordan Kyrou, let's say, if they're trying to pad up this team. The issue is that Panarin, Trocheck, Miller, Zibanejad, even if these guys have good years, they are older. They are not going to stay, even if they have those turnaround big years and Miller gets another 90-point season and Zibanejad kicks back into gear and he gets into the 60, 70 points or something like that, which would be crazy with how much crowding there is in this team, and Lafreniere actually kind of turns out pretty decent and has a giant year. These guys are old. And to me, there isn't enough assets to make up a good team that'll make them good enough to win the cup without sacrificing big chunks of the future. And in the future, in 2 years, when guys like Miller and Trocheck and Zibanejad can't skate anymore, well, not Miller, I think Miller's fine, but Zibanejad and Trocheck already showing those signs of the aging. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. And Panarin, you'd have to sign to a big contract, taking up more cap space. And he's getting older, and I don't know if he has the potential to get those big seasons anymore. So, if in my eyes, this team, the right choice would to be kind of play it like the Bruins did last year, and of course start the season trying to win. But once the signs show that you're a below 500 team, sell. Get out of there. Get the hell out of there. Make Panarin the hottest free agent on the market. Wait for the best contract that you wait for the best trade you can make, and make it. And otherwise, because to me, if this team tries to pad up the depth, right? If you try to bring in 3 good bottom 6 guys onto this team, which I know is a possibility, I just still don't think it's over the line good, right? What is a successful season for the New York Rangers? I think it's either successful that they make the playoffs and they don't just get bummed in the first round by a good team, which I think this current squad would be, Or they sell away, they get a good bunch of draft picks, and they get prospects, and they begin the tank of the future. This is the year of Gavin McKenna. This is the year of Gavin McKenna. That would be, like, if there is a year to tank your team and go for broke, it's this year. And to me, it would be huge. It would be absolutely ginormous for them to try to get one of those other teams that are in the bottom 16 that might end up get another draft lottery odds, and combined with the Rangers' odds, and then combined with their odds, maybe they win the first overall pick. And who knows? The draft is screwy. Maybe another New York team like this year will get the first overall pick. I'm just saying. To me, also, with the added fact with the Islanders, the Flyers, the Blue Jackets, the Bruins, Montreal, other teams are also getting better, and some teams are getting worse and making those wild card spots way more, well, I don't know the right way, not valuable, but making them way tougher to get. Then that's the zone the Rangers are in. They're not going to beat out the Hurricanes. They're not going to beat out the Devils. They're not going to be beating out some of these teams in the Capitals for the first 3 spots of the Metropolitan. So the wild card's where they fit in, and both sides of the Eastern Conference are getting tougher. And to me, the Rangers are not at the top 2 of that wild card. They aren't. Even if they pad up this team, I just don't think they really are. And to me, that's also, they would sacrifice the future, because they don't have that many good prospects to sell away, other than the guys that are already on the team, like Perreault. And I don't know if it would be good enough to make the team better. So, to me, the Rangers, in my opinion, I would vote you go sell. You sell this team away. You trade away Panarin. You trade away a Trocheck or a Miller, because I'm sure Miller would not want to be another losing team again. And both those guys would bring back a giant-ass good return on their value. And just start building for the future again. That would be my vote. And I'm sure everyone watching this video is going to completely disagree with me. But I'm just saying, you watch this season happen, right? They have a lot of good players, but they're not good enough to be a success story. And to me, I think what is going to most likely happen is that they play the season, and Panarin's having a good fine year, and they're around a playoff spot, and they're within a few handful of points of the wild card, and they dance in and out of there. But one of the teams, like Montreal did this year, or Columbus, or the Bruins, are just like, they go on the hot streak that crowds them out, and the Rangers have their little cold spell, and they get out of the playoffs by 6-7 points again this year. But that is my opinion, and you are all going to disagree with me, but that's what I got to say. So thank you for watching this. If you made it this far, I'm begging you to please subscribe. Until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.